Hi. Hello.
And welcome to
the Partner Panel. Okay, so here's the thing. The last weekly update essentially just covers new role icons, new static effect icons, new store gift, new scoreboard, and new river objectives, long story short.
They don't show the river objectives though. What's up with that?
I'm assuming it's because the final look of how they're actually going to look like is still a work in progress.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, all they do is show you the color of the buff.
Yep.
Which I did notice, actually, if we want to just start off on that side, why the fuck is the yellow buff, aka the Cremata Blessing? What a weird ass name. The gold buff. Why is that one much closer to Severog than the other ones? Do you guys see that? The green one, the blue one is kind of like midway.
I think it's in position because if you end up getting multiple, it's kind of where they're all going to sit.
Yeah.
Yeah. All four? Isn't there four of them?
Yeah.
So.
Well, or no, because the two middle ones are both the same buff. It's just they're on both sides.
Okay, yeah. So if you had, okay, sorry. I was also including, because I'm thinking Sever, I'm thinking jungle. You have the blue and red buff. So all the buffs are all going to sit in a certain area. So technically be 5, because you got your blue, red buff, and the 3 shrines or river buffs.
So why are they putting them all on the same side though?
Cremata is a company that develops an app for giving money.
Is it?
There you go.
Well,
there you go.
Is it CHRI or CHRO?
CHRI. MATA. Cremata. Kind of like Clamata or chlamydia, but Cremata.
What the fuck?
I knew with Mangoose that was happening.
Right? Oh my god!
You don't want that chlamydia buff. Let me tell you that right now.
Oh my god!
You often get it from the river.
Right. I don't know if I like the positioning. Actually, you notice how
I don't have a problem with the positioning.
You can get chlamydia from any position, dude.
I can't with you, bro. No, but look at it. It like the Q and the E are like directly above wherever the hell the buff is gonna be. Like weirdly enough, they're almost arranged like Triforce status, because you see the blue one is above the Q. Then you see the green one is to the left of the Q and the yellow one's to the right of the Q. So So I don't know why they went with like a Triforce looking.
Maybe if you have multiple buffs.
I mean, I get it, but why not just stack them vertically? Like, why do I have a buff that's 2 feet to my left and that's the only one I got? You know what I mean? Middle of a team fight, whose buff actually is that if I just glance it out of the corner of my eye?
That's true. I was wondering what sort of gameplay implications that could possibly have. But yeah, you're right. If it's way the fuck off of your character model, it could belong to anybody when you're looking at it from afar.
Now, in the green one, I don't know if it actually clips, but what if there's a wall there? Is it going to move closer to you? Or if I'm smart about it and I'm just in a fight and I just keep all those blessings on my left and a wall on my left, does that now mean that you can't see my blessings?
No, I think even in that GIF, you see it. Watch it. It kind of bounces to the right after it goes around that corner. He gets too close to that corner. It kind of bounces closer to Sev for a second, and then it fades back to the left.
It does kind of look like it moves to the right.
So it almost like it doesn't clip. It just kind of like it gets closer to you. Like, oh, wait, you're pinching me off to the wall. Let me get closer to you real quick, and then I get back to my own little spot. That's the way I see it. I could be wrong.
I mean, if that's the case, I like it. You know, as it probably should be. But I don't know, man. Like, I think as far as the blue one and the yellow one, I'm okay with that positioning because it kind of, those two almost like contour his body, right? I would not be opposed to the green one just being even a little bit further. Just keeping directly next to your character model, but like taller, you know what I mean? Or like surrounding your character.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not particularly a fan of the way they look either, to be honest. Like, I don't know about you guys, but like it looks like the interior might be solid and then some like holographic, almost invisibility looking layers on the outsides of these. I don't know if
You know where you can get a
Some
really
people
good look
might find
at
it
of
cool.
those images is actually the health buffs in King's Hunt.
Yeah, that's
Health
exactly
buff
what they
in
are,
King's
aren't they?
It's exactly the same thing.
Whenever you go like for one of the green buffs on the side.
Yeah, the ones that are just floating there waiting. It definitely
Yep.
looks. It looks just like that, but with a clear.
With a little
shell.
translucency on the outside, yeah.
Looks like D&D dice.
I can see the D&D dice. That does. I can see that for sure. I don't. I like the look of them. I think they look pretty cool, and they add a little to it. And really, and Ryan Red's made the joke about it before. If you get all the colors, you actually, if you have to zoom across the map to do it. But if you got all the colors, you literally be Thanatos.
All right.
Thanos.
Yeah.
Thanatos is a jungler and Smite, bro.
You're right. You're right. My bad. Thanos. I said that wrong. I also have a streamer friend named Thanatos. That's really just what I meant. So, but yeah, Thanos.
I mean, I get it. I mean, you know, like I understand. Like it looks cool as a standalone thing, but as something that is going to be moving through the air, because arguably you're going to see it the most still. The enemy is going to see this translucent orb just kind of floating around following. You feel me? Like, I like the fact that the red buff and the blue buff, at least the way they were currently it was a clear indicator. Like, that motherfucker's at red buff. There's a big-ass red ball next to him. Like, solid. You know what I mean? I don't know if I like the fact that it might be easier to lose.
I don't... the only one that I could see possibly easy to lose would be the yellow one. The other ones are pretty, and that's only because, you know, of the coloration. It needs to be a brighter yellow, maybe. But the green, to me, stands out obvious, and the blue stands out obvious to me as well.
Think so?
That little turquoise.
I can see the blue one, yeah, because of the contrast. The green one, depending on where you are, yeah, sure. Because it's bright. Maybe just increasing the brightness, keep it the way it is, but make it actually like neon color, like make that shit glow. Maybe.
Right.
Similar to the buffs, both red and blue, they're really shiny and really they give out that light to make it very obvious.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely feel it should be that way. But can I just say, as a whole, this update, I'm not impressed with it. I don't want to be Mr. Negative, but as a whole, like,
I mean, it's the same as every other week. We're good. You're good. I get it. You don't like it. I understand.
Like, here's my thing: role icons. In last week's update, we already pointed out that the new role icons were listed in the new waiting screen picture that they showed us, right? We pointed it out. We talked about them. It's like, hey, you know what? Like, there's arrows on them, interestingly enough, which is kind of like, you know, brainwashing, move forward sort of idea, maybe. I don't know. Go this way. Interesting that they chose arrows, but I don't like the fact that it's an entirely new section. Just in case you missed it, here are 5 little icons. We're taking up an entire screen with that. You're welcome. I don't know.
I mean, I think this is like this small potato stuff. I think the buffs are like the main part of this update.
Exactly.
This is some small potato stuff.
I do like the new story.
I mean, I know right now because I was in SMS earlier this week, and somebody came in and asked, "Hey, when's the next patch coming out or whatever?" And like the moderators, like, you know, look at the patch note, or look at the weekly updates, and they'll let you know what's going on. And they're like, "Oh, I don't read that." And it's like, well, why would you even ask about the updates? You know. So then again, and we had Armadillo on last week. Armadillo said he didn't read the week before that. So like, there's certain people who don't read certain weeks. So yeah, you're right. It was on last week, but if they didn't read last week, here you go. Now you know. Reading this week, you see we have a new role icons.
I do like these role icons. They're very clear in what they are. I think support.
You think so?
Anytime you have a support, you should have some sort of cross on there, like a red cross.
Yeah, more like for health, so to speak, or anything. Like, because you say very clear. I just see 2 little Bambi legs or 4 little Bambi legs, and then a bubble.
The other ones I can tell what they are though, just by looking at them, just from prior MOBA experience, and then looking at these icons. The support's the only one's a little bit off.
Right. Yeah, I agree. The sport one definitely. I was looking at it, trying to figure out what about this is telling me support. And that's it. The only thing I can get out of it is got a little bubble, you know, which you have Muriel and you have Decker. They're bubbles, I guess. I don't. Other than that, I don't.
Maybe those are little hands
about that.
pushing the arrow forward. Here you go, buddy.
Maybe whoever made the icon was a fan of Miro. Because maybe it's like wings with a shield. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah. So,
The status
the other
icons,
four-
I
the
like
four are
some of them.
perfect.
I feel like some of them really like capture the essence of what they're doing, and others
Yes.
just don't.
Like stasis, the pause with a little thing around it. Okay, I like it. Stunned, the little circle with like the days, the stars. Okay, I get it. Suppress is a fucking chat box. I don't know why.
What the hell does
They're-
suppressed mean
yeah,
anyway?
Yeah, I don't even know what it means, but it's a chat box. Like insert text here. Like,
Like
okay.
they can't auto attack? Is that what suppressed is?
Suppress is
I'm
Chimera's
assuming.
ultimate.
Is it?
Chimera's ultimate suppresses its target, so can't auto, can't move, can't use abilities.
Doesn't Graystone's shield suppress also? Just stops their basic? No? Is that the
E,
name
right?
for it?
Sure.
Yeah, his
Yeah,
shield.
it's E.
Like his shield bash.
Yeah, shield bash. Yeah, the shield bash.
I keep
I don't
acting this shit out.
Yeah, I don't know what it
His
is.
shield.
See, and one part that trips me out, suppressed and silence, I guess, you know, they're very similar in different ways. I think one of them stops your basic, one of them stops your abilities, if that's the case. But I like that at least silence has an X on it. Like
Mhm.
suppress is just like, hey, empty box, you know? With
Yeah, it just feels like it
with the
needs
little
something
guy.
more than what it has.
No, yeah, I agree. That one definitely it doesn't explain it. Like tethered, you know, you're using a chain. Like you're like I get it. Like you can understand just by looking at the picture what it is. You
That
don't
they
need
can't move
words
around.
to yeah. You don't need words to go with it.
Dude, Unstoppable
But-
got this like Gundam suit icon out of nowhere, like
That's the one I'm like, what the fuck is
right?
that?
Unstoppable, like yeah. I mean, I like the fact that there's an unstoppable icon because, like, when a Boris is charging at you and you don't know,
Yeah,
and you
right.
just decide to waste a CC like a Decker stun or a Narbash stun and be
Yeah.
like, oh, I guess I wasted it. Being able to
other one
visually
that's-
see that,
The other one that's weird to me is slow resist because it's not even like it's the slowed icon with symbol around it. It's just its own thing. Like it's just weird to me that it doesn't seem to match the actual slowed status with some added flavor to show that you're resisting it.
What would you do, like a foot, like moving quickly?
I think in my mind,
I
I would do
think
the
some
slowed
boots or
icon
something
with a
would've been
shield
good.
around it.
for both of those, I think boots would have been all right. I don't like the fact that slowed is an arrow, a fat arrow with like slime on it or something. I don't know. And then slow resist is the fat arrow on hydroxy cut with 2 lines.
Well, the slow resist to me, it looks like somebody, like 2 people pushing back, and it looks like 2 people, like literally, like 2 offensive defensive linemen trying to push each other. Like you're being like a resistance. That's the way I see that.
I mean, I can kind of see that, like trying to push through 2 barriers sort of deal. I like cripple, broken bone. I don't know if that's actually going to be clear when you're in the match. Disarm.
So as an electrician or
disarm
previous
doesn't know
electrician,
basic attack. Okay.
I like the grounded because that's literally what a ground symbol looks like on electrical work.
Oh, really?
Is it? Okay, so that makes a lot
Yeah.
more sense. Because I'm over here like, it's an arrow pointed down, which is random shit cut off of it. Rooted is a lightning bolt. Change my mind.
That's a root.
Oh, see, I saw
That's
plant
definitely
root. I didn't see a
Yeah,
lightning
that's
bolt.
definitely a root.
Hey man,
Three
I'm just
gets one,
saying,
mine
if,
changed.
if there's no words and I just see that out of the corner, I'm like, lightning bolt. What does that mean? If I didn't actually
bolt.
read up on
Lightning
it,
bolt.
Exactly.
right? Like, hey yo, he's
Okay,
stuck. He's got the light.
whoa.
That wasn't on Harry Potter's head, so you're wrong.
Can't wait for you, bro.
I gotta go back real quick. So disarmed,
Yep.
we established
Yeah.
disarmed is when you can't
No basic attack. Yeah.
Auto attack.
basic.
So I don't know what
the fuck
suppress is now.
suppressed?
Suppressed is everything. And you can't basic,
Yeah.
you can't cast abilities, and you can't move.
What is it? They should just put a sad face on it.
Isn't that just a stun?
No, that's depressed.
Depressed.
Oh, I would be depressed if I got suppressed.
Isn't that just a stun though? You can't move, you can't basic, you can't do abilities. That's a stun.
No, you're.
But suppress, I think, stops you from using item actives as well.
Oh, I guess that could make
Whereas
sense. I still don't like the
doesn't.
icon, but I could see that. How many people know what withered is? Out of curiosity.
It's a slow.
It's when you can't health regen, right?
Yeah.
I still don't 100% understand why they chose that word and why that word is not explained anywhere. Even the items that say apply effect wither, and people are like, huh? And then you Google wither, it has nothing to do with what it does in the game, right? So
I mean,
isn't
like
is that a dead plant?
Is that like a dying plant? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
A plant that's withered is one that's like you.
What's the dot for?
It's the flower head falling off.
Or you're very creative, because that's not what I fucking saw.
It's the leaf falling off of it. I don't know.
Right, look
It
at the
makes me
rest of it.
sad.
There are no leaves. Wait, what makes you sad?
It's because it's withered. You wouldn't expect a withered plant to have leaves. Come on now.
I mean, whatever.
Get your
All
head
right.
in the game, Windu.
Hey, man.
Yeah, I don't know why they call it withered. What's a better word for it though? Like,
Anti-heal?
don't. Well, that's just a little bit on the nose now, isn't it?
I'm just saying, like every other game, they don't go withered effect applied. They're just like anti-heal. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You got me.
Yeah, that was right to the point. I like that. Yeah.
Like I understand, the being
You win
creative.
this round.
Now, on their normal basic attack items, do we remember if the axe is facing downward or if it's facing upward? Going back to disarm.
I think it's upward.
So disarmed is a
Yeah.
downward
if you actually
axe
scroll
that's
down,
broken?
If you scroll
Oh,
down
yeah,
a
we
bit
can see
farther,
it here,
you'll
yeah.
see the
Sure.
icons there.
Oh,
Yeah.
so the disarmed is the axe to the left, facing down and broken. I honestly would have preferred to just see an axe with a line across it.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest with you, in the middle of a fight between crippled and disarmed, I can easily see people be like, "Oh, he was disarmed? Shit, I thought that was a crippled one for a second. I just glanced at it. I'm in the middle of a fight. I'm not sitting here looking at
And
his
it's gonna
status
be
bar."
really small on your screen at the
I
same
think-
time.
Right, but I also think that if you just put a line, I don't know, maybe the line through it might have disciped. I don't know. The way it is now, not doing the whole line through situation, I think it distinctly tells you that it's nothing to do. It's not an attack. It's literally the opposite. Like you disarmed.
Well,
There's no confusion
are
with
we
it
to
being an attack
assume-
or whatever.
Are we to assume that they're gonna stay white? Because like silence being like purple or blue color would be dope, and then disarm being red would be dope to let you know, like, hey, red is basic, blue is silence, and then suppress is purple because it's red and blue both applied.
Yeah.
And as we seen last week, you know the player, the role icons will be colorized on the map, the intro map. So you're right, they could definitely change colors, and that'll make them stand out as well.
Bruh. I kind of really like this new shop.
Hold on, I want to say this real quick. Last week you asked, what are we missing? Because you only had that one corner of the shop. And then here you go the next week.
Yeah,
Here's
the
your
next
whole
week we
shop,
got it.
Windu. You asked for it, here it is.
I mean, so here's my thing on this one. I find it interesting that at the top, there's two different shop views that we can click on, the tree format and I guess a list
Yes,
format.
what is that
Mhm.
format? Yep.
I'm assuming that's just going to be where we click on an item and we see item stats on the right, item description below, based off of what that little picture looks like. Maybe. But I definitely like the
instead
fact
of a
that,
hover to get the information, it's just there automatically.
yeah,
Yeah.
but maybe it doesn't
Yeah,
show
so
you the
instead of-
tree. Maybe you're just looking at
So
the
instead of showing you the tree,
components.
you're gonna look at what is that? What is War Ages? Let's just say War Ages, and
just
it's
like
gonna
that's a
show
full
you just
item.
a picture of it, and then it show you exactly what the what it does, the stats you get with it. Yeah, that's what that looks good to me. I love how on the
I'm
far
trying to figure
right,
out what would be the purpose of it though, because if you could just highlight it and it tells you everything. Wait. Hold on. Let me wait for another highlight here. You guys are watching what I'm watching, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, it tells you everything. So why would I need to go to a different screen to see it bigger?
Personal preference.
Yeah.
Maybe. I like that.
That's really, I think, the only answer that it could come down to.
I like that now. If you have both of the same aspects, there's only one. Like you see it on the top right. It's adding it to both. Both of your icons are there for people that want to see on stream or whatever. You could have the plus sign or the keybind. I find it interesting that on the far right, we see the offensive, defensive, and utility. The fact that they categorize them that way, but then they want to let us know in vertical lettering that they categorize it. I don't know. I don't know if I would have just, like, they got plenty of room. Why didn't they just put the offensive on top, defensive, you know? You still got like 2.5 inches of empty space under. Like, why is it on the right side? Why not just make that font a little bit bigger and then put the titles above their respective area?
And if I had to really nitpick, center them for each of those stat sections. Because like utility looks really
like
short
the actual
in comparison
title head,
to offensive, defensive. If you're gonna leave them where they are, move them just down slightly so they're centered between all the stats.
But I think what it is, it's at the top, so you know that the right where the word offensive starts, you know, across from that and down is your offensive stats, and then when you get to the next word utility, anything below from utility over and down is all utility.
So wouldn't it just be easier to put the word utility above mana? That'd be cool.
I would like to see 3 separate blocks of different color codes.
Like red, green, and white, maybe.
Yeah.
Offensive red, defensive. Well, I guess. I don't know. Because once you get into color coding, I know people are going to be like, oh, why can't they color code this? But I think just color coding those 3 would be fine. We don't really need color coding for the rest of them. So inventory.
I think the big thing of this new shop shows off, or rather shows the lack of quality in, is the items themselves. The shop looks really good, but the item art kind of pulls it down in my mind.
You think so?
I really do. I think they definitely need 3D renders of their items.
You got to understand, Jelly and I are coming from Ethereal, whose item art is fucking insane.
they do. It does. Yeah. You know what I'm noticing here? Now, it's a GIF. It's lower quality, but a lot of these items got a bunch of, like, colored glare behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you feel me? Like, everything is, like, glowing.
So I do know, I mean, this was stated before back in patches when they first introduced these item arts, that this is just a standby until they do get the 3D arts. So that actually is something that's coming. So when Jay Offlane made these, it literally was in the very beginning known that this was just going to be a placeholder for those. So that's definitely coming. So you know it's going to be maybe not as ethereal, up there as well as that, but we're going to be up there.
To be sure.
So
you know what I like?
He's really done a lot for the game, Jay Offlane.
Bro, the fact that he went from a random community like viewer, participant, whatever, to like doing all this art, being part of the team now, it's kind of crazy, to be honest.
Right.
On a side note, I really like how when you highlight an item, finally, it actually shows the changes it would make on the right side.
That whole right side, it shows you what you go into the item shop, and this is where you're at. This is your stats right now, and if you buy this is where you're going to be when you leave.
In my unpopular opinion, I would prefer that directly next to the all items. So like all items, the stats, and then the tree on the far right. Because think of it like this: I'm highlighting. Now I want to see what difference it makes. I have to look across the entire shop to the far end. Now I can see, hey, it increases my power. It reduces my cooldown. Like, you feel me? I'm going across an item tree that I'm not even looking at because right now I'm trying to select an item. You feel me? I don't know. I don't know if that kind of makes sense. I would much rather have the item tree all the way on the right. Because at that point, you've already selected the item that you want. You feel me? Now you're on this half of the screen.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Do you guys know what they plan to do with the recommended? Because most of the time, your recommended item builds blow in like any fucking game you play. Like, it would be nice if they actually had somebody who knew what they were doing to do the recommended items portion.
Like a meta build on recommended, you mean?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Well, that's kind of what they said in a couple weeks before, and you guys might not have been able to read that week. They're going to do the smart store, and it's going to be predicted off of your hero and your role what needs to be built.
Okay.
And who you're going up against, too.
It was introduced, and it shows in there, it shows the smart store and recommended. So I'm thinking the two are going to be different, the way I saw it. So...
I wish I could pause this, man. But like right here, so you see whenever he tabs on recommended, you see easy loadout. That's your recommendation based off of, hey, this is how the game is going. This is how far you are in the game. This is who you're going up against. Like, you're getting destroyed by energy damage. We recommend energy armor, for example, depending on your character, etc. But then directly below that is still a traditional recommended build where you see starter, mid game, late game recommended items.
Yep.
Like essential, offensive, etc. So I really think they should go off of, I mean, would it be bad to put meta builds as a recommended so even the new players know what to build? And then if you want to build off meta or you different options, you could go from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think if they're putting in the smart store, that's plenty for new players.
Yeah.
You think
Yep.
so?
I don't see a reason to have smart store and recommended because new players to the game aren't going to
Use
know
both.
which is better for them.
Right.
So it's just going to be more confusing than not. And experienced players will either just completely ignore the smart store and do their own thing or use it anyway if it's actually really good. So
I just think the only difference is it's going to be recommended for this role, but not necessarily for this game, depending who you're going against. I guess that's the only difference you're going to have in that situation. And yeah, it's a tough one. I don't know. I get it. It definitely is going to be a little more confusing.
I definitely like that they actually took our feedback on the scoreboard. They added the gold onto there now.
Yes, they did.
Which is dope. Before that was missing. I still wish I could see a average team gold, like to know whether we should get into that team fight or not. Like put it at the top or something, like total team gold, because it's like, hey man, their team is 3,000 gold above us. I probably wouldn't suggest that team fight. You know what I mean?
Right. And there's plenty of room to put that on the bottom. You could slide the raptor and the turrets over.
True.
And our towers over, and then put gold, and then put the your kills, assists or deaths, and then assist and all that stuff afterwards. You could definitely make that room in that situation. I would definitely recommend that, because you're right. That is something I remember. I'm correct me if I'm wrong. Paragon had that, right? You were able to pull it up and see the gold, the team gold, and it is something that if their team's at total gold, it's like, okay, they got 2-3 more items than you do.
Now I like the fact that they added the timers on here. I don't know how I feel about blue buff and red buff timers on your scoreboard. I don't feel like that's necessarily important.
I found
for
that
the
a little
entire
odd as
team.
well.
Like, I get Raptors and Prime, right? Because everybody on the team should know about those. But like the blue buff timer, what's a solo laner gonna care about that? You know what I mean? Or the red buff timer? Like,
I think it's an ease of access thing though, right? That if I tell that my mid laner they can go get the blue buff, then now they also have a way to look at what time that is instead of having to calculate on the map with the ring.
Oh, okay. I can see that, to give you an exact time as opposed to just the bar.
Right.
Or
they know,
okay,
hey, I can get this one more minion, then head over there. I don't need to head over there now. But my thing is though, look at the scoreboard. Why is the enemy timer up? It should be your ally timer, not the enemy timer.
I mean, you can go, like, if you go to the enemy red buff, you can grab the timer on it.
The timer,
and everybody is able to see it on the mini map. You know what I mean? So
and we don't know which team this was coming from either.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the blue and red buffs are available
no.
for the ally team right now.
That's probably what it is. Those are available, and the other ones we actually have a timer on. Maybe they're just living in the enemy jungle at this point. They don't care about their jungle. You know what I mean? I mean, at this point, it's 20. I just realized the number's 22, 31, right? 15 kills, 31 deaths. Hey, I see you. I see you. I see that. Y'all be going ham on that prime pit. Okay, I see you.
Right, but the other team's got 22 kills and 16 deaths. So, like, how do you have, like, what?
So, I like that you can mute from here, report from here, and I know that on the ending screen version, it doesn't just automatically kick you out. You stay there until you leave that page, and you can add people right from that page. So that's kind of cool. I know that. I still don't. I do not like. I still don't like the fact that the ward, whether you have a rad pulse or the ward or whatever, it does not to be as big as a fucking item. for me to know that. You feel me? I find that still a waste of space.
Or it at least needs a bigger degree of separation from the items.
True. At least a little bit more of a gap so you know, like, hey, well, honestly, bro, like, part of me is looking at it and I'm just like, I kind of wish that icon, like, populated with the war design that you equipped. Wouldn't that be lit?
I think that's a little
more
much for now, but yeah, that would be cool in the future.
I just don't like the fact that it's like a ward icon, big as hell. Like, all right, you got a ward. I don't. That's not as detrimental as the items next to it.
Or even make it so similar to they have the report and mute buttons. Make it another smaller icon on the other side of the portraits.
Like on top right or something.
Yeah, it's either top right or bottom right, right? And then do it that way, where it's still clear, like I know which one they have, because if I see purple, that tells me, versus making it as large as it is.
How do you guys feel about the triangle profile pictures?
Diamond?
You mean
diamond?
Yeah.
I don't know why the hell I said triangle. Diamond.
I'm like searching for a triangle.
Right?
Why do they do two triangles opposite of each other?
Right?
Illuminati.
But how do you feel about the fact that they chose diamond for the profile pictures and then everything else is either square or rectangle?
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it sets it apart. Yeah.
I get it. I don't know, bro. Like for me, I'm just definitely one of those, like, I get it. You're like, hey, you're kind of trying to make it look cool. Like the mute and the report button look cool around the diamond. That definitely kind of suits it. But then again, it's just like this entire screen, which is, look at the mini map on the far right corner. I don't know if you can kind of peek that mini map there. You hit tab, this is taking up your entire screen. This is a lot of space to navigate. You know what I mean?
That I would say is one of my biggest complaints, is how much space this takes. Right? It's not that I need to have it teeny tiny in the corner somewhere, but taking up my whole screen is a lot of real estate to cover while I'm trying to look at items or the enemy score or gold between teams, whatever it may be.
Like, I'm sure something could be made to make this more compact and still make it look good. Like above the items, we literally just have their aspects, how many favor they put into them, and a name. And then there's like 4 inches of empty space in like above every single one. You feel me? Like, why can't all that information be like around the stats, like the 623, etc.? Like, I would be okay if it says 6, like for example, right here, the 91586 800 gold, and just put the aspect icons above that, make the pictures bigger, or just shrink out down the empty space. So now my scoreboard is just a small part of my screen as opposed to a big part of my screen. Feel me? Like that like 1/2 inch to an inch that you save on every line will literally just cut down the entire tallness of it by like 1/3. Get rid of,
I mean, are you gonna be looking at this when you need to be moving around that much though, for real? Like,
you mean like, while, I mean, you could hold W key and pull up the scoreboard. No, bro, like when you're in lane, you just saw your opponent again, you're gonna pull up your scoreboard to see what item did they equip. It's a normal strat. I don't want to pull up my scoreboard, and then drop it and be like, oh, hey, look, it's a Boris. Oh, too bad my scoreboard was covering the entire fucking jungle entrance. You know?
I think they're at least trying to combat that a little bit by making it translucent in the background. Like you can still see Kwong through.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, yeah, because if it were solid, it would definitely fuck everything up.
Well, I think the most important thing here is that they did include the mute and report functionality.
It's
right
huge.
from this.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I like some of the stuff that they're adding. How about, I'm trying to think. Or honestly, you could grab those aspects.
The report function The report function, is actually huge because a lot of the people didn't understand the whole hitting L. That was still something that was lost upon everybody. Was you hit L to report.
That's such a random ass letter.
And yeah, exactly. Report L. Yeah, it makes sense. So, but I mean, so it's so much easier. You pull up the, hey, just hit tab, bring up your, and click on, I'm assuming the exclamation point, we report, and then report from there. And then that's also easier to find because you sit there and you got somebody like, I don't know, let's just say being toxic and flaming you in chat, and you saw their name, and then it's okay, and then you pull up, you hit L, and you go to it, like, then you got all this list of names in front of you. It's like, wait, which name was his again? And then you got to go through and find it. This is like, it's literally right here. All right, it was the steal that was, doing whatever. Let me report him. So,
how do you
I like it.
Okay, so kind of weird question to ask here. Would you guys still like the scoreboard if it wasn't a square?
What else would it be?
Well, the reason why I'm bringing it up is, like, for example, grab the ally team word and enemy team word, bring that closer in right under the blue buff area, and then that entire fucking black corner there where it's at, fucking square that off. You can make this shit into like a hexagon if you really wanted to, like a weirdly shaped hexagon, but you could. Or like at the bottom, the fact that after the raptors we have another 3 to 4 inches of empty space for no reason.
Well, I'll tell you that Unreal Engine does not like anything that isn't square.
Yeah.
Like once you trying to make fucking trapezoids and hexagons and all that shit, it becomes infinitely harder to do.
Well,
because it's all got to be custom.
So hear me out. You could still format it and do everything as a square. Just have that one portion of the square translucent. You know what I mean? And it's still a square format. And you could get through it. That because I'm just trying to think, like, again, I'm just not okay with the fact that it covers so much. But then again, so this is actually a little bit out of context. It would probably be, if you guys see the fact, like how I'm zooming it a little bit. No, it'd probably be more around that size, as opposed to, like, from left side of the screen, right side of the screen, etc. Because on the right side, you can still see just barely here the peaking of the shoutouts, like attack mid, careful left or whatever. Yeah. Their profile picture is blocked, so you can kind of see who said it, but you at least still see the command. I would say, hey, if the scoreboard is actually blocking those commands, it might be a little too big. Like, you can make the scoreboard smaller and just make the font a little bit bigger, and it would actually look better, specifically for like this middle area. Again, 2 to 3 inches in between at the stats, and then just empty space with an unfinished line. You know what I mean? Like, you could literally just bring those closer together and put a line. You just saved yourself an inch total, half an inch from left, half an inch from right,
At the very least, I think those callouts should come above scoreboard. They should take priority on your screen over you holding.
You holding tab. You guys still there?
Tab.
I think he froze, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It froze for a second. We're back.
All right. We're back. All right.
Yeah. But no, you're right. I would prefer the notifications to take precedence. Like, almost like have that overlay be a layer above, for example.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that would be too hard to code or to put in or whatever. I don't know, man. Like, I'm just like, I like the improvement. I like the potential. But then at the same time, I just sit here and I just can't help but ask. I'm like, what is the reasoning that they made these specific choices, Because usually there's a reason for everything. You get me? Like, they're like, hey,
right,
let's make this a little bit bigger because we want it to be seen. Let's make this a little bit smaller, etc. You know what I mean? Like,
my only issue that if we go with the overlays being on top, if you look right where they're at, with the overlay, the notifications are at, that would stop you. Especially if you came here to report your Gideon, you're not going to be able to report them because that overlay is now in your way. Like, you're not going to be able to click on it because now you're going to have to sit there and wait for the notification to finally go away, the 5 seconds that it takes.
Yeah.
And then I click on it.
Or just make the whole scoreboard smaller and now they don't overlap. You get me? Like,
I'm just saying, if you're not gonna if they're not gonna make it smaller, I'm okay with not seeing the icon of whoever said it. I can read, like you said, you can still read what's being the notification that's still being popped up, because it'll be on the other edge that you can't see that's being zoomed in here. So,
like, honestly, okay. So look, this is about real size. If you guys are looking at the screen I'm sharing of how it would look compared to the borders, I would be a-okay if this border was this small. I would be a-okay. I can still see everything. Everything is 100% legible, even if you don't change a single thing. And now you have 4 to 5 inches on each, like 3 to 5 inches on top, bottom, left, right, everything. Like, I don't, or could it possibly be that they just blew it up just to kind of show it in the picture? No, that doesn't make sense, because they would have just.
It could be something that will scale with UI. So if we scale the UI all the way down, that this will go with it. So like your ability icons being smaller on the bottom instead.
Maybe, I don't know. Speaking of, it totally reaches.
Vertically, it's huge.
Bro, it's literally covering your icons for your abilities. It goes that low. And then it's going all the way up to the point where I'm assuming the only thing above you is the people and when they died.
Yep. Because it reaches probably about the top of the mini map on the screen.
Yeah,
not a little bit above
just
that.
about. Going all the way from your abilities that are at the bottom of the screen to the top of the mini map, that's literally almost the whole fucking screen being covered right now. That's kind of ridiculous for a scoreboard. I don't like, the scoreboard is good, but if that, like, again, to size would be about here. I don't need the scoreboard to be that big. That shit could be smaller by like 20-30%, and I'm Gucci. Everything is still legible. Gucci looks skeptical as hell as I say this.
I don't know. This is where you guys are a little more. That's what I'm looking for. Experience when it comes to gaming like this, and you know, wanting to, you know, you want to be able to see things quicker and stuff like that. You know, more competitive. Like I'm still getting into that phase of it, so I'm learning. I'm listening here. I'm sitting here listening and learning, is what I'm doing.
Yeah, for me, I just really don't care that much. I think it's fine. I don't think it could definitely be smaller, and if it's helpful for people to be smaller, then make it smaller. But I think this looks pretty good. Yeah, they can make improvements if they want to, but yeah, I think this is fine. Like,
it's an upgrade.
I don't bring the score, like, when I bring the scoreboard up, it's for like a second or two, and then it's gone. And I don't bring it up in situations where a second or two is going to matter. Like, I'm not pulling this up in the middle of a fucking team fight or something. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, but like, let's say even if you're in lane, not in a team fight, a second or two still matters. If you're just peacefully laning, that second or two that you decided to pull up your scoreboard is a second or two that it took the Narbass to thunk you and you got shotgunned by Murdock. To give you an example.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah.
Like, I like the translucency because of that. No, yeah, I like the translucency because of that. Because you can still kind of see a little bit. But I definitely think that's just kind of like a fix because they made it so big. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I like the translucency, but I still just wish that I didn't block. Hell, it's blocking the ability icons. Why? Did that extra inch really make that difference? You know?
Okay, but what's the point? If you're looking at your scoreboard, why do you need your ability icons? Why do you need to see those?
Bro,
like,
if you're playing a MOBA, you're a multitask. Like, you're crazy at multitasking. Like, I might have looked at my scoreboard real quick just to see what he was building, but I just noticed out of the corner of my eye.
If you're being this competitive, shouldn't you already know what your abilities are? Like, you don't need to see your icons to know that. Right?
So yes and no. Yeah, yes and no.
As a Kalari, right? If you're waiting to ult somebody, you check that scoreboard real quick to see kind of where your team's at, who's dead, who's not.
While you're hitting
that way you can quickly pop your ult as it comes off of cooldown and jump somewhere across the map. If I can't even see the cooldown on my ultimate, that's harder to do.
And don't forget, a lot of people, even because here's the thing, let's say the ultimate, right? I might know it's on cooldown, and last time I saw it was 15 seconds. I'm not staring at that timer. And maybe my time perception isn't the best. Maybe it's been 10 seconds, maybe it's been 12, but that visual indicator of that pop when it changes is all I need. You feel me? Then I immediately know, bam, press the button. We're good. Because I saw that visual indicator.
See, right now, you can tell he can level up his ultimate. You can see that, so that pop will still show through the translucency.
What do you mean you can tell he can level it up?
It's got the blue border
That's
on it.
got that blue border. The
glowing on it.
Border. Yeah, that glowing on it. That literally is what's going on right now with this. So that translucency, you can see that pop still with the translucency. So you still get exactly what you asked for.
So, but that, I guess you can see it. I don't know, bro. But here's the thing. Again, why are we relying on the translucency of a big ass screen when you could just make it 30% smaller and deal away with all the issues?
Again, I'm with Mangoose. I think it looks great. I don't know. I like it.
I don't think it looks bad. I just think it could be better optimized.
I didn't mean to say that you did say that. I don't know. I wasn't trying to say you think it looks bad. I like it.
He's calling us out. He's calling us out right here.
Right. Hey man, it could just be better use of space. Like again, like yeah,
I think it really does.
Yeah, it just drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. It really does. Whenever I see all that empty space and then you're taking up this much of my screen. Well, if you didn't have all that empty space and you use your space wisely, it would be smaller on my screen. That's the way I feel about it. Anyhow, I really wish they would have shown the actual river buffs or whatever. We got to end here soon.
Yes. I want to know what they look like.
I don't like their names.
Are they the bugs?
Yeah, I don't think they're done yet. I think there's a placeholder there that they're kind of working on.
They got to be the bugs.
I hope.
Yeah, I'd imagine they're going to be the bugs.
I hope not.
Why not? You don't like the bug?
If it's here's the thing, it'll be convenient if it's the bugs, but I just think it'll be lazy. You know what I prefer?
It's not going to be the bugs. Look at the blue buff. The blue buff's already the bug. They already have that in place.
You know what I would prefer, actually? Either they came out with something cool. I'm sure they can come up with like some random assets to throw in there, right? But because you got to be mindful, they're calling these shrines. What if this is literally just going to be a statue that you smash and it breaks?
That doesn't fight back, or it does fight back?
They're not going to fight back. I mean, Ryan Red already said.
Similar to like harvesters, you're thinking?
Yeah, because here's the thing. It's a shrine. I don't know many shrines that move, you know?
Right.
Putting it that way. So I just think it's going to be like a landmark that you sit there and smack and claim.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And then it's between you and the enemy team to see who claims it first.
Yeah, or who gets that last hit on it. But I still think these names, like Ancient's Blessing, okay, I could see that, you know, the XP gain mana regen. That's a pretty cool name, right? Thenos Bless. What the fuck is Thenos? I don't think there's any lore connected to Thenos. What is a Thenos Blessing?
I looked it up, and the closest it came was Thanos, as we discussed earlier.
Like, okay, Thenos Blessing, health and mana regen. Interesting.
Hey man.
So one gives you XP mana regen, one health and mana regen. Crymata, wouldn't that be a legal issue if you're using a company's name like that?
I don't think anybody knew it was a company's name.
I mean, it fits perfectly. It's a company about making money, etc. It fits so clutch. Like somebody that recommended that name was like, "Hey man, I'll tell you what. There's this company I look at, and this is what they do."
Free advertising for our company.
Oh,
the green and gold buff just feel like they're trying too hard to have like a unique name.
True.
Whereas, like you said, Ancient's Blessing is fairly basic but straightforward. I'm okay with it. It sounds good. It's easy to do. I'm not gonna be telling my mid laner, being like, I'm gonna go get Thenos' Blessing and then I'll be right back. Like that's not happening.
You know what I'm gonna call it? I'm gonna call it.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna call it the NOS. It's the nitrous oxide.
I'm so done. Bro, how about
the NOS? Yeah.
Maybe it has to do with the fact that each shrine might look different. The Shrine of the Ancients, the Shrine of Thenos, the Shrine of Crymata. Maybe that's what they're trying to go for, you know?
Possibly.
Maybe the shrines are actually going to be unique when you go to it, even though the names are still kind of wonky.
I think the green buff should be, Warrior's Blessing, because it's going to be a solo lane. So I think it would fit better for that style of solo laner. The more of the warriors that sit out there. So I think that would fit better. Ancient's Blessing, Warrior's Blessing. But then again, that Karamata one works perfect.
I find it interesting that the Karamata one does not give you XP when the other ones do. Oh no, wait. Only the blue one gives you XP. Never mind.
Ancients, yeah.
So only blue gives you XP and then mana. Green gives you health and mana. And then gold just gives you increased gold on minion kills. Now, what does that really mean? Hold on. Are they going to give me... Because we already have an aspect king that increases your gold. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So does that mean you're going to be able to double dip now? If you got king
Now we're gonna
and
get
that?
King Karamata builds that just maximize on farm.
Yes.
But if you build with Karamata in mind and then don't get the blessing, then you're kind of screwed if you do that.
I mean... Yeah,
now you get the benefit. What was the other one? Hunter. So now you can use Ace Hunter and get this. You actually get both. You get all three in a sense. Of the.
But it's relying on you actually getting the gold buff.
You have to get you have to be able to get the gold.
So
buff.
you can either double dip with King, or go Ace Hunter, have better in combat abilities, and then benefit from the gold buff if you wish. So I could see that. I like the variation of it because now it's not just like, hey man, if you don't run King, you're throwing, Yeah,
right.
So at least there's a little bit of variation.
I think they have to be a little careful though with this Karamata blessing in mind, because King is getting run less and less anyway. And so now you're introducing something that's basically King, but I don't have to take the aspect. You may just kill the aspect across the board, that there's no reason to take King.
So be mindful that this is also only for minions. If you are very aggro and you plan on getting a bunch of kills or a bunch of assists, King will still help you.
Yeah, King's gonna get you.
So I can definitely see why some people might be like, hey man, I mean, I can see people going King and Ace still, go super aggro, focus on killing, and fucking forget about the gold buff anyway. They're like, oh, we'll grab it if we can. And I can see some people prioritizing the gold buff, King, and then having Ace as well, just but focusing on like all the farm. I don't know. I like the fact
I'm
that
just glad they didn't let the community name this shit.
Yeah.
Like Reggie?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Reggie's blessing sounds way better than Karamata's blessing. Changed my mind.
I'm not giving you that blessing.
Bro, it sounds way better than Karamata's blessing. I almost feel like they're trying to play off of Karamata. I don't know.
So, the way I remember Paragon, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I remember Paragon, like dual lane, the gold buff for dual lane was meant for your support because the support didn't get gold very much. But the way, that's wrong. Actually, that's the way I understood it. See, I'm not the high competitive one, so getting gold for a support player was very hard to do because you're not getting minion kills. Like you're literally just standing there and you're not leveling up.
So you want
your buff to me was, go ahead.
A good support player doesn't really care about gold. You care about making sure your ADC has gold, and you affect the game through your abilities. So,
okay.
I was about to say, you usually want your carry to have the gold lead. Now, you might have a nice carry that's already fed, and he's like, hey man, you grab it. I'm Gucci, bro. I'm one-shotting these guys. Say less.
Yeah.
I'm like 2-3 items above these guys. You can grab it. But you definitely want your carry to get that lead, especially when there's only one gold buff in this case. Because think of it this way, your carry, whichever carry gets that gold buff, let's just say there's a 90-second timer on it, right? For 90 seconds, if he farms properly, let's say master's level, hits almost every single minion, and if it's a substantial difference, that one carry can now be like 400 or 500 gold in the lead just because he has that gold buff. You feel me? And that's 90 seconds. Do that, let's say 6-7 times in the first 10, 6 times in the first 10 minutes, for example. Like 5 to 6, I don't know, I can't math, right? No, it's gonna be like 4 times. Anyhow, if you maximize it and get the gold buff every single time and farm properly, you're in the first 10 minutes alone, you're easily gonna be 1,000 to 2,000 ahead of the other carry. Just because you had the gold buff. You give it to your support, and their carry, and you know, like their carry has let's say your support got it one time, their carry got it one time. You're now in a disadvantage as a carry. You better hope your support is gonna carry you if that's the case. Like a Richter support, just building full damage and shit. Because if I don't know, bro, no, you definitely don't want that on a support. That's just me though, man. So they also mentioned on here, so we can start wrapping it up because we got a couple stuff to do here in a few minutes. They mentioned patch 13 will be the largest update the game has seen since the early access release. Happy to confirm that the patch will be dropping this April. So they do confirm it's an April update. We plan to announce a patch date with a large dev stream where we'll go over the entire list of patch notes, discussing the future game with our community. I like that. They're doing a dev stream, getting people involved. They'll go over the different little things and then release a patch note, you know, an official date of release at the end. During the stream, they also plan to be doing live giveaways with everyone. Chance to get some gifts. Kind of cool to do. You know what would be bomb as fuck if they did? At the end of the stream, they say the patch goes live in 30 minutes. Servers are shutting down. That would be dope.
That would be pretty sweet.
That'd be sick. You imagine they finish the stream and that patch will be live in 6 days. And it's like, fucking 6 more days. Fuck! I'm just saying, yo, Ryan, you heard that? Get it. All right. Anything else you guys want to add before we end it here?
I want to say that I'm surprised. I thought for sure you were going to hit more on the April and you're gonna want more out of that.
No, I like the fact that I got a specific month. You remember what I was telling you? I don't like. I would prefer, even if you're late, right? Even if you're behind schedule, and at your worst case scenario is April, I want you to tell me April. Don't tell me maybe May, you know, maybe March, maybe April. No, give me a solid. Give me your worst case scenario, and if you deliver early, awesome. We're all happy. You guys just overpromised because you set up the expectations so low. I don't like that whole maybe. The fact that we're getting dropping this April, finally, I got at least a month out of them. I don't need a number or a day. I got at least a month out of them. But that whole maybe March, maybe April, you're gonna tell me I've got 60 days to fucking play with?
Yeah, under promise, over deliver, 100%.
100%, all the time. And transparent, even under promising and over delivering, that's still being 100% transparent. Like if April was their worst case scenario and they said April, they're still being transparent for April. If they delivered it 2 weeks early, 3 weeks early, whatever. Awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my thing. I like directness. But we gotta end here. So just let us know down below what you guys thought. I don't know. Like this update for me was kind of like, but then again, I also knew a lot of it before. So y'all let me know what y'all think. Yeah. All right. Till the next video. Peace.
Peace.